Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's a kind of short notice, but we just want to make sure that you're going to have this presentation before the end of our offer period, which is tomorrow at 4 p.m. We heard our clients requested for that. That's why we're here today. But first of all, I just want to ask, sino dito ang nag-subscribe sa All Day? Congratulations! Yeah, yung mga taga My Trade, nakuha nyo ba yung mga allocation nyo? Yeah, congratulations. And I hope that, you'll continue your support to us. And that's what we can give you as much as possible. We want to give you close to what you have requested. And I'm so glad that it turned out successful. Congratulations, All Day team. But first and foremost, after that, I just want to show you a video just to have a recall in the last drive-through that was given by Sir Nikki. I don't know if it's here, but let me see. But before we do that, I just want to say hi to our viewers. Hi, Sir Zaldi. Thank you so much for watching. Hi, Paul Tabon. Oh, I'm sorry. Bakit ka wala? Have you requested on time? Yan lang yung dapat. So that's why it's really important to comply with our deadline. I've heard our LSIP were granted 100%. Yan, si Jessen Cruz, congratulations, Bakena men. My friends, some of my friends will be annoyed at me saying that. Okay, me po. Congratulations, Grace. Hi, Jessie. Full alok. All right, congratulations. Mukhang maraming na pamaskuhan si Santa dito today. All right, just don't be greedy, okay? Sell when happy, sell half when happy. Baka pera na yan. Ayan, okay. Hi, Marilu, all day yan. So, I just wanna congrats everyone who subscribed all day kasi nga naman, 'di ba? I've heard na maraming hindi nagrantan ng kanilang request. Kung ako sa inyo, lumipat na kayo dito. All right, kidding aside. And next, so we will be featuring this next IPO that I think you've heard from drive-through, and we want to elaborate why Keeper. What are the factors and strengths of Keeper? But first of all, who has an idea what Keeper is? Sino ba? Alam ko maraming mga traders ang makaka-relate sa Keeper. Especially yung pre-pandemic days, mga nasa bar ng mga weekend, sometimes on a weekday. Ayan. Anong Keeper product ang paborito nyo? Sige nga, go. Can you comment down below? Anong Keeper product ang paborito nyo? If you have an idea what Keeper is, I think. Ayan, may sumagot na. I can see some answers. Hi, True Wealth 2021. Yeah, okay, from Week Gaming. Yes, it's liquor. Alright, sino yung mga hindi umiinom dito? Yun yung tanong ko kasi mukhang yun ang hindi masyadong popular. Ayan, si Sir Zaldi, 101% allocation. Kamusta naman, di ba? Lumagpas sa 100%. Sige, anong favorite Keeper product mo? Come on, guys. Merong? Alright, Ian. Sabi niya, it's Black Label. Brandy naman kay Sir Zaldi. Johnny Walker. Wala pa ako. Hindi ko pa nakikita yung favorite ko. Ayan, mga batang Black Label yata to. Mga batang 90s ba to? 80s? Yung mga mahilig sa K-drama. Hi, Belle. Oh, Soju. Yan, yung mga K-pop. Alfonso, para sa mga nagtitipid. Cuervo, para sa mga mahilig pumarty. Yan, yung mga namimiss nyo, no? Yung mga ilang shots na lang, nakapila. Mukha nga ililipat ko na yung funds. Ayan yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. Gusto nyo pang ma-miss out eh. Alright, so we're not promising that, it's still subject to the availability of the shares, but, makikita nyo na lang naman na you have most of our clients have been granted, and we are really, something that we really like that you guys are earning. All right, so without further ado, let me introduce to you my partner for today and the one that will be presenting, Keeper. Hindi ko alam kung manginginom to eh, but I'm gonna ask him. But later on, I know that you're gonna miss, ayan, si Eileen. It's Jinro Soju. Ang daming manginginom, di ba? Hindi ko nakita yung Glenlivet. Hello, sige, eto na. I'll ask him if he's a drinker. Ayan, kasi pero may hinanap siya sa akin na segment wala dito sa sinabi natin eh. Hi, Rainier! Ayan, nakamute si Rainier. Hello! Ayan,
Hi,
Rainier,
good
minsan
afternoon,
ka ba?
everyone. Minsan lang.
Ayan, minsan lang. Occasional.
Very
Kaya kung may,
favorite ko
ano,
from the segment of Keeper. I think nakita ko rin in some of the comments. Ito yung sinasabi ni Keeper ito yung mga mas pangbata. Which is
wow, siguro
Jinro
favorite ko din
Soju.
yan. Ano?
Parang
Ano?
ito yung sinabi mo yung kanina eh.
Soju. Soju, no? Tama ba?
Soju.
Oh, 'di ba? Sabi ko sa'yo, mga ka-age group namin ni Rainier yung may favorite ng soju. Alright, so Rainier, I'll give you the floor and later on we'll ask the audience naman. They will be asking you questions. Okay.
Alright. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone first for tuning in our Wink event today, What Investors Need to Know. And even right now, palang, I'm already seeing interesting questions that we will be able to address later on. Maybe if there would be not enough time, maybe we could answer it even after the break. So I'll make this quick so we can have more time for question and answer. So next slide, please. So I guess there are two basic questions in our overview. So who is Keeper? So Keeper is in the imported spirit segment in the liquor industry or in the liquor category. So Keeper is competing. It's correct. From what I've been seeing in the comments, it's correct. Keeper is competing against the local brewers, local manufacturers in Emperador, in Ginebra San Miguel, and Tanway. So, but Keeper has its own category because they're the ones importing foreign brands into the market here. So, who is Keeper? Keeper is actually quite a new name, or I guess it's sort of a new name for us, but it has actually been in the market through through the Costco Capital Group. So Keeper is the liquor distribution arm of Costco Capital, and from what we've been seeing or from what we know, um, the Costco Capital would also have the grocery segment. So we may expect the synergistic relationship between the liquor distribution and the likes of Pure Gold and SNR. So in fact, around 30% of Keeper sales would be in the Pure Gold and SNR brands of Costco Capital. And the second basic question would be just to correct China earlier, they're not doing an IPO. They're doing second. They call it the second IPO or an FOO. So why are they doing an FOO? So I guess investors parang would realize, oh, they didn't do an IPO. This is basically because of the transaction it made between the Davin and the Costco Capital Group. So basically, they had a share swap in order to put the liquor distribution arm of the Costco Capital Group into formerly Davin, now Keeper. So why are they doing an FOO? Because due to the transaction, the public float fell to 1%, way below the required public minimum float. So that's why they're doing an FOO now. And I guess the thesis of the entire event is this for keeps. So we'll see uh, moving forward. We'll see later on. Next slide, please. So here, I guess not only that Keeper has been in the market for a while. It also has the brands that I guess most of us would be familiar with. So we have the brandy segment, the Scotch, at yung mga Johnny Walkers, Chivas. They have Glenfiddich. They have whiskey, Jim Beam. Even China's favorite is also here. Ano, Maker's Mark. And they've also been continuously growing their portfolio. As management mentioned, they've added even the, I guess the recently famous ones in soju, so Jinro and the other Korean brand. So it's also important to note that most of the brands here, Keeper would have the exclusive rights. Although for some brands, I think for Jinro, uh, its principal would have two authorized two authorized dealers. So one is Keeper and one is I think another Korean company as well. So moving forward, next slide please. So we can also see from the picture here as the famous blue label. I guess for those who subscribe to All Day Early, you can I guess grab one for today. And then there's Bailey. And what's important to note is in the imported spirit segment, um, the brands of Keeper as you may have seen earlier, they're usually the number one or number twos in their own segment in the imported spirit segment. And the next slide, please. So just I guess to wrap up the company overview, Alfonso is also one of their top sellers, or actually it's the top seller. It is 60% of total Keeper sales, because though it is part of the brandy, it's I guess one of their cheaper products, which is in the 400 peso segment. Uh, Alfonso is still considered premium compared to its local peers, wherein they are in the 100 to 200 peso segment. So um, yeah, Alfonso, that's why in the brandy segment also is the largest revenue contribution for Keeper, and the target market for uh, Keeper and its brands would be in the mid premium segment, which is suited for the SNR and the pure gold brands. So next slide, please. So here we'll be talking about our key investment highlights, or the reason why we like Keeper. So that's kind of an allusion already of what our recommendation will be. But first, we'll we'll just have a short video of
Keeper. We're also subscribed here because, like I said earlier, the growth in its revenues, at least until pre-pandemic, was the highest within this subgroup. And as you can see here, it's also eating into the market share of its peers, specifically specifically that of Emperador. And it's also the main beneficiary of premiumization. The company has not said anything, but we believe that the company is likely to announce a major acquisition post follow-on offering, and this will ensure the company's continued growth over the next few years. So again, subscribe on Keeper Holdings.
Okay, so thank you, Sir Nicky, for his short appearance. So we move on to the key investment highlights of why we like Keeper. And first would be the revenue growth. So as we can see in the chart here, We plotted here the 2015 to 2020 growth. So as we can see from 2015 at 5 billion, it was their sales was at 5 billion, and by 2019 it was already at 10.7 billion. So their 5-year CAGR revenue would be at 13.6%. Although for 2020 we saw a slowdown because of the pandemic. So it's quite expected, or it has been seen, I guess, across the different consumer items and consumer industries or consumer subsectors. Although it's important also to note, if we look at the lower right side, in the first half of 2020, where they net around 3.2 billion of revenues. In the first half of 2021, it has already grown to 34%, showing the recovery of their sales. And from its historical average, the first half is only 40% of the full year, because the second half, this is technically the peak season for, especially the Christmas season or the holiday season in the Q4, which is happening soon. This is basically the stronger half, the stronger quarters for Keeper, as people are out, people are giving gifts, so they are expecting more sales. So I guess if we look at the first half of 2021, we might be tracking already to reach the 2019 levels, or even higher. So next slide, please. So apart from the revenue growth that we've seen from 2015, 2019, even to first half of 2020 and first half of 2021, the imported spirit segment is also seen to grow at a CAGR of 25% all the way to 2025. So what we're seeing is there is also demand for these types of drinks, especially here in the Philippines, where the market is still relatively small compared, if we compare the imported to the local brands. And then next, I think Sir Nikki talked about this in the clip that we saw earlier, that they've been growing market share against the established players, which is the Emperadors, the Ginebras, and I guess in its own segment, in the imported spirit segment, um, they've also shown market leadership at 74%. I think around 18% would be for Emperador, and the rest would be for others. So mostly, they've been dominating this category, as we have seen in their product portfolio earlier. Although as a whole, here in the Philippines, like what we've seen in the chart earlier, there's still they still have ways to go, but we've been seeing them growing their market share, it, trying to even top of their performance. So lastly would be premiumization. I think we've heard this a lot, especially with All Day, na they're catering to the mid premium segment, since uh, um, like All Day, Keeper is also banking on the growth of the Philippines, the GDP growth, as people will have higher disposable income. They will want to trade up. Trading up meaning, for example, you would consume the 200 to 300 peso drinks later on, since we're growing income. We would want to try the more premium drinks. And um, apart from that, I guess we also see the we also see Keeper as a reopening place, since most of their products, or as you may observe, they're mostly consumed on premise, or as the company has also mentioned, they're mostly consumed in the premise. So it's they these are usually served in the bars, restaurants, and since we've been seeing these restrictions, sales have been sales has plummeted. Although what we're seeing these days that with the lower cases, the economy is slowly reopening. It might be part of the boom that we will see in the recovery of the consumer segment, particularly in the consumer segment. So that's like next slide, please. So I guess I've seen a lot of questions on the FOO proceeds, and the proceeds 80%, or I think 3.5 billion of the amount that will be raised will be used for strategic acquisitions. So acquisitions, this means that it will um, have more brands in in its portfolio. Um, they may be looking at uh, purchasing new distilleries, and although nothing has been disclosed at this point, but but the company gave guidance on um, a 2 year pipeline of the acquisitions that it is forecasting to make. So what we're seeing is the proceeds will be utilized pretty efficiently. So the rest would be again in expanding the portfolio. As we have seen, they've been constantly growing it, and the distribution centers, and the lastly would be working capital. So with all that, we provide our recommendation in the next slide. Sorry, I think we're having technical difficulties. Yeah. So for the Keeper Holdings follow-on offering, it was priced. It was initially at a price range of 2 to 2.5 pesos. Although it was set last Friday that it was dropped down to 1.5 pesos, which isn't necessarily bad news, especially for investors, since we are seeing a target price of 2.75 because of I guess because of the what was mentioned earlier. We continue to like its prospects of its revenue growth and continuing growing market share against its competitors. So at 2.75, we're seeing an upside of 83%. Uh, and then in the offering as well, we are expecting 3 million newly issued primary shares, so no secondary for this offer. And lastly, our recommendation is to subscribe. So basically, it is for keeps. So thank you for your time and
Congrats. That's his first ever presentation live. So I think Rainier, just want to ask on behalf of the viewers that are watching us right now. When you say primary shares is gonna be issued versus a secondary share, can you give us a picture of why is it an advantage to those who are subscribing? What's the
um,
difference between the secondary and the primary shares?
I guess it also has to do with the notion of we just getting the secondary share. So because when we say primary and secondary, primary this is newly issued shares. So basically bago talaga siya. Secondary, this will be coming from there will be selling shareholders. So for example, the secondary could be coming from Lucio himself. So if parang there's also the sentiment part when they sell when they try to sell secondary shares now, oh, why is the owner trying to sell, parang is it some sort of indication that there could be something wrong, or they may not be as bullish, that's why they're selling. So I guess although it's not always the case, though we like primary we prefer primary issuances instead.
Okay. So now we are opening the floor for your questions. This is gonna be brief because we just want to say how we recommend it and why do we like it. So it's for keeps according to Rainier. And so mamili na kayo. Puro Alfonso pala to. Hindi ko lang. All right. So I think this is the question that most of the people would want to ask. Those do have an existing share or holdings of Keeper. From Jessen Cruz, magkakaroon po ba ng price dilution due to the injection of primary shares?
I guess this is the tricky part, no, of this offering. You would say that the ones who would subscribe to the FO, especially the ones who don't have shares currently, they're the ones, I guess, mas attractive sa kanila to subscribe to the FOO. Although the ones na meron na prior to the FOO, since the stock is also suspended now because of what I mentioned earlier, yung sa public float. I guess mas disadvantageous sa kanila kasi what happened for the price dilution. Actually, what the price now of Keeper is, it closed at 2.95. I guess a month or 2 months ago when it was suspended. But due to the change in par of Keeper from 0.023 to zero point 0.1, the price should adjust to 12.82 now. So the current price should be at 12.82 with lower number of shares. I just can't recall how many shares would that be. So for existing shareholders, you would have to recompute your average price, which is the average price times 4.35. That would be your new average price. So our recommendation for the current holders is they have to subscribe, or they would want to subscribe in order to minimize or mitigate the downside risk of the price falling nearer to the FOO price,
Okay. Which is how much?
which is
Uh,
at 1.5. So
at
medyo
1.5.
malayo talaga yung last price niya and the FOO price.
Yan. All right. So, just want to ask. This is the question that I want to answer all the time from Daryl Concepcion. How to subscribe po through MyTrade? Daryl, if you already have an account with us, and if that's a trading account, then you should have received the letter, and it's all you need to do is to click the link. You don't need to submit any form. Just click the link. Put there the information how much you want to subscribe, and yun lang, just submit it, and no need for email and anything. If you are not yet a member of MyTrade, I'm not sure if you're makakahabol ka pa, since tomorrow is gonna be the last day of accepting orders, but you can still subscribe kasi marami tayong upcoming na IPOs and FOOs that you would like to take advantage of. And we will leave in the comment section below how to start or how to open an account with us. For those, if you are a member of Mighty Community, our exclusive Facebook group, and also the map, we post there the announcement that we already have sent it, and including the link where you can subscribe to it also. So actually, if you're a member of a Mighty Community and map, you actually don't need to open your email now because you can click there. So that's it for those who would want to subscribe. Again, it's up until tomorrow 4 p.m. For those who are already subscribed, make sure that you are funded kasi maibibigay namin sa iba yan if it's not funded. So just make sure that you're also funding those shares that you have requested. From Jazz Lucas, what is the price expected after FOO, up or down po ba if may price dilution? So how much is it now? 12.
Yeah, 12.82. Tapos, the PSE will most likely suspend its floor, its dynamic threshold. So
it's gonna be removed.
yeah, it's gonna
Tama
be
ba?
removed on the day
So walang
of
floor and ceiling on the
for the
listing
first day
day.
lang. For the
For
first
the
day.
first day. Ayan. So another thing that you need to take note of, not like all day ngayon na ang pinakamataas lang niya is 50%, no? They will remove the threshold. Hindi na siya magsiskip. So, tatanggalin ba nila yung ceiling or just the dynamic threshold?
Oh, I think only the floor lang.
The floor. Okay, the
Only
floor. So,
floor will
pababa yun. So, if ceiling is patas, that's pababa. Ayan. So, Jazz Lucas, so there's a price dilution. From Albert Halili, mabibigyan po ba ng priority ang mga existing shareholder na mabigyan ng FOO? Existing shareholder. I think the priority will be based on the subscription, who subscribed first. I think that's it, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But operations has its own way of prioritizing the shares. But it's a good point that you gave there, Albert. Probably if push comes to shove, ibig sabihin kapag halimbawa nagkaroon ng oversubscription, we'll probably take note also of what you have inputted, since alam namin na may effect dun sa price of those who are holding it. We will take note of that.
No, thank you for that, Albert. I think that's
Yeah, that's a good
also
point.
important to note.
Mm-mm. Next question from Ian Hernandez. Will this be available sa PSEEC even though it is an FOO as opposed to previous FOOs like that, APL and ASEN, which were not available in PSEEC? Ayan. Ikaw na ba, Rainier? Ako na. Is it available in PSEEC?
Yeah,
I think
it will be available on PSEC. I guess apart from those examples, the recent one, SGP, they also had an FOO. It was also offered in the PSEC, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Keeper will be will be there tomorrow. Tomorrow until the 10th or 9th. Sorry, I have to double check on that.
Okay. We'll check in the backstage kung yung exact date. Yan. So again, may ceiling pa din wala lang floor price. From Levy John Boris, who's the underwriter? Which bank?
This
PNB Capital
PNB Capital, I think China Bank and SB Capital.
and China Bank. Same with all day, tama ba? Same.
All day yata si PNB and BDO.
PNB din.
PNB and BDO. But I think we have to ask Pia on the specifics.
Yeah. Ito na. Nag-phone in na si Pia. Shout out to Pia.
How much target price again? We're targeting 2.75, and this is on a timeline of 12 to 18 months. Although it could be might be difficult to say what will happen on listing day. It will depend on the demand, so we'll see from then.
Okay. So for Pia said it's PNB Capital China, Bank Capital, and SB Capital. And then for all day naman is BDO and SB Capital.
Then for PSEEC, the offering will be November 4.
BDO pala. Sorry.
November 4 to November 10. The last day will only be until 12 p.m. So if you are not able to subscribe to my trade, you can still opt to get from PSEEC.
Yon. Okay, from Week Gaming. Again, bakit daw ang baba ng FOO price compare sa current price?
Hello, Week Gaming. I guess this, to be honest, it is quite surprising to see the FOO price to be at a lower price range compared to the last price. It's not kind of a difficult question to ask to answer because it's really beyond our control. So what we're trying to do na lang is to basically make most out of this situation na, especially for the existing shareholders na
And I
they're kind
think, Rainier, and I think malapit siya sa share swap price na 2 pesos, no? Tama ba?
yeah, mas back then kasi there was the share swap price wherein Costco Capital bought the Davin shares at 2 pesos. So and our recommendation naman at that time was not to chase the prices. So it, from beyond 2 pesos, we were recommending to sell. So I guess this was one of the unfortunate scenarios that yung mga types of transactions or yung ganitong deals mas challenging for us investors, especially for the existing ones. So for the existing ones, we just like to reiterate na it's better to subscribe to the FOO para lang to, I guess, average down na rin. Since
And
with all,
also, I think to add to Rainier's answer, current market price at 12.82 is actually not reliable because it's a shell company. That's why there's a share swap. So basically, walang laman yung company before that's share swap. That's why from, di ba, from Davin to to Keeper. That's why it's kind of it should be relied on the 2 peso share swap price. And magkakaroon ng change in par. Is that right,
yeah.
Rainier? Yeah.
Actually, yung change in par, yung naging reason kung bakit siya naging 1282. And I guess yung the reason why they had the change in par, because they didn't specify the reason why they did the change in par. But the shell company or Davin did have significant, well, did have pretty large sum of negative retained earnings. So I guess they tried to trim that down in the process.
Okay. All right. So next question. What is the advantage and disadvantages of Keeper to other market share like EMP and GSMI? Okay. Good question. Kasi
Uh,
parehas mga liquor yan.
yeah. Thank you for the question, Jerome. That's correct. EMP, GSMI, these are the domestic, these are the local ones. I guess the advantage for Keeper would be they're not yet brewing their own liquor, so mas mababa yung mga operational risks that they have in higher production costs, higher raw materials. Although Keeper would also deal with the principal, pero I guess mas less sakit sa ulo on their end that they can focus on their sales and marketing. And for I guess the disadvantage of Keeper, um, this is I guess when dealing with their target market. Um, I guess especially in this pandemic, people the economy took a turn downwards. So mas inclined yung people to trade down at the moment. So kumbaga parang na-stop din yung growth ng I guess income of marami nawalan ng jobs. So mas naging geared towards emperadors and GSMIs. Although we're not saying naman in the future that kumbaga tutok na lahat kay Keeper. But um, I guess people would want to try more of the Keeper products moving forward, especially as we see economy, the economy reopening and the economy rising back to growth.
Palapit na yung occasion season. So makikita natin na, there will be a lot of, get together kahit naman sabihin natin na miss natin yung mga, 'di ba, yung togetherness sa mga tao. I think magkakaroon sila ng confidence in terms of getting back with their relatives, siguro mga maliit na functions. And I think hindi mawawala ang inuman dyan.
Yeah.
Lalo na
Sorry, just to reiterate, no, yung for keeper, since it's a play on, ayun nga, to add to what I said, it's a play on the mid-premium segment, so premiumization. If you would want to have an exposure to the rising GDP, the rising growth in disposable income for Filipinos, um, just like All Day, they're also marketing the premiumization highlight. It's also nice. It also would be nice to have exposure on keeper in the mid to long term.
Okay. Pag sinabi bang premiumization, tama ba premiumization? Is it because the buying power of yung larger, parang umaakyat na yung
Yes.
market segment ng mga Filipinos, yung
Yes.
kumbaga yung lifestyle nila, which is a good thing, 'di ba? In spite of the pandemic, you can see that kind of advantage. All right, next question, another good question from Han Jo Min. Mas maganda bang mag-invest kay Keeper than kay Costco?
I guess a perfect answer would be it depends. It depends on the portfolio you would have and the time horizon for your investment. So if you would want exposure on the conglomerates, or if your portfolio must shortcut on the conglomerates and you would want to have exposure on the grocery, so if you see that pure gold is at a high price now and Costco is still trading below its fair value with a higher upside, maybe it's also good to have Costco in your portfolio, because in Costco you would have the exposure in pure gold, you would have exposure in keeper, and the other segments of the Costco group. Although for keeper, if you would want to have a direct play on the liquor segment, kumbaga, if you really believe in what they're selling in the imported spirit segment. So I guess the answer talaga is it depends. Although if we look at the upside, keeper would have an 83% upside. Costco, I think we're at around 60 to 70% upside.
All right, from Ian Hernandez, correct. The 12 plus plus was speculated price of a shell company, Davin. That's why it is very, very dangerous to speculate. Okay, I think that's a comment. Thank you. From AJB Redux, di Campanilla. Okay, on listing date, November 19, will keeper price start at FOO price of 150 or the current price of 12 pesos plus? Oh,
I think the answer here is neither. It will most likely gap downwards. Pero I guess the buyers would be between those. But I guess it will be geared towards the FOO price rather than the 12 peso. Kasi mas maraming shares yung nasa FOO price. So there are more sellers there. They parang, to put it into perspective, if the FOO holders would have an average of 1.5, then they would sell it at 3. Parang marami na yung magiging masaya doon kasi double your money agad. So I guess the rationale here is might be difficult to say, but it's more logical for it to gap downwards near to the 1.5.
near to the 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What's next? From John Doe, what do you think outperforms the most over the next 6 months? Is it Keeper, GSMI, or AMP?
Interesting question. GSMI, Si GSMI kasi it is only the liquor the spirit segment, hindi kasama yung beer. Supposedly sana if GSMI included the San Miguel, I think it would definitely be the strongest out of these three. It will outperform the most. Kasi for FB, the mother of GSMI, GSMI, FB kasi has food, GSMI, and the beer. So, etong dalawa listed. Pero si beer, hindi siya listed. So, si beer, it was hit the most in the pandemic compared to GSMI and to food. So, uh, beer, beer is kasi on-premise siya. So, mas malakas siya kunwari sa iniinom in the beer house, in restaurants. So, as the economy reopens, it is most likely to recover, I guess, at in line uh, uh, or outperforming the pace of the recovery by then. So, well, to answer your question, um, it might be it's difficult to say kasi I guess what we would want to see here is the recovery of its on-premise. So Emperador and GSMI generally uh, they're more they're more off-premise. Mas maraming off-premise ako na Keeper is on-premise. So there is that likelihood na Keeper will outperform these two in terms of revenue growth and revenue income growth. Pero if we compare it, I guess, in terms of their size, syempre mas maliit pa rin si Keeper between these two juggernauts.
Okay, next question. Okay, from Neil Holmes. When will MindTrade team inform client about the approved allocated reservations? I think since probably most likely after November 4 p.m. We will check all the funded ones. So as long as we will tell you if it's oversubscribed, we will post it, and if it's gonna be based on the electric raffle, we will have an announcement soon as there's an oversubscription, and we will be needing to have to do an allocation or partly approved subscription. But as for the approved ones, we will let you know most likely a day or two within the week of November. So November 4 is tomorrow, no? Tomorrow is a Friday. Is it Friday?
Thursday.
Or Thursday. So we'll see with the with our operations team if kaya within before the weekends. We will let you know. I already posted the question to our back office team.
Keeper declared dividends. The dividend policy is at least 20% net income after taxes. So, although they're not obliged to provide dividends, but I think management mentioned it is in the pipeline.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
What will be the total outstanding shares for Keeper? I have to double check on this one, but I can answer you after the call. That's okay. This is in Facebook.
And so Jesse will get back to you on that.
I have to double check on that. Thank you.
Kasi ideally, these questions are being answered by the what do you call this? The company's management team, no. But with that pala, we would also want to announce that we will be interviewing them on another segment, since we already have presented the if whether it's not okay to subscribe. That's the most important thing today, why we recommended it. And the next is we want you to get to know the team, the management team, which is also going to be featured in our touch base. So we will be interviewing them next week. Watch out for that same weekday. So it's on Wednesday. We'll interview the president of Keeper to get to know the decision maker there. So that's going to be another touch base segment. But for now, we will answer most of the things that will involve your subscription and why we recommend it. All right.
So,
So next,
sorry, to answer yung question, Jesse, we called a friend. Thank you, Herman. Total outstanding shares after FOO will be 14.5 billion. So market cap will be around 20 plus billion. Yes, 21 billion siguro.
ayan. Next question. So just to reiterate what Rainier said, it's 14.5 billion outstanding shares after follow-on offering.
Fair
The
value of Keeper 22.75.
Yeah, so a while ago we presented it. It's 2.75,
Yes.
83% upside. If you notice, we don't give target price in IPOs. The reason why we have a target price here, it's because it's a follow-on offering. Tama ba, Rainier? All right.
Generally, yes.
So from Russell, if gap down ang keeper near to its FOO price during its listing date, what will happen to the average of IPIT traders? Will that mean an instant more or less 50% loss?
Quick answer is yes. That's why we're also recommending to subscribe to mitigate the downside risk. If ever, kung how big naman yung magiging downward trajectory niya. At least yung average nyo is mabababaan talaga, especially if you subscribe to more shares.
Okay. Sige. Kaya that's why I think just to have a review, prior to this ba, did we recommend, so I think in our short takes, we published there that it's really important to, it's better if you, it's gonna be advantageous to the one that doesn't have an existing share because it's gonna be a discounted price na, 'di ba? Did we recommend it prior to, like, before, or I think there was a warning that I remember from Sir Nikki way back about it in short takes, about the, he posted it on map about the keeper or the Davin stock
Yeah,
before
but
the FOO.
before the FOO, we didn't
Yeah.
recommend Davin talaga.
From Jose Patrick Ryan Monsayak, can we make additional share subscription after we submitted? Okay. I think you can just edit the Google form reservation. Just go, if let me know if it allows you to edit the Google form, and then you can just change the shares. If not, send a notification to help@mytrade.com.ph that you're gonna amend. So give them the before shares that you're requesting and the after, para hindi kayo magkalituhan if it's additional or if it's the final shares. So just let them know before shares and then the after, the final request. If ever you cannot edit the Google form. All right. So from Simplified TV, what level yung stabilizing fund? Is that something that they announced?
Uh, I think it's mentioned lang na meron, pero walang specifics on that.
Hmm. Kukuha din po ba kayo ng FOO ni Keeper? Ako wala akong existing shares eh. Pero I don't know if we are allowed to announce if we're gonna get or not. But it's gonna be an advantage for me if I get it.
ako rin, it's gonna be an advantage for me if I get it.
Pero sinasabi ko nga, masunurin ako kay Sir Nicky.
Ako
Alright,
rin, masunurin ako.
Domsky, ayan, I think it still depends on the availability of the shares. You cannot say that is there a limit or not. So it's gonna be subjective. You cannot have a final number on that. Next. Next. Sige. Siguro mabagal yung internet ni ano. Okay, from Regan Lobaton, how long will it take to transfer funds from one account to another so that we can subscribe to the FOO? Abot pa kaya bukas if ngayon ka mag-email? If it's the same name, you don't have to withdraw. Yes, just email funds@mytrade.com.ph and then transfer your fund. So say you are transferring from client code A to client code B. Just be specific as to which client code it's gonna go to and how much. Again, funds@mytrade.com.ph. Okay. What's the ticker, Rainier? It's,
Keep R.
yan, KEEPR.
Keep R.
Keep
Rainier.
R. Yan. Keep R. Okay. Ito, maganda to. From Jerome R. Solon, what is the best local liquor so far? Keeper, EMP, or GSMI? So, as an analyst or as a drinker?
Just to clarify, technically,
Imported nga
yung
eh.
yung kay Keeper.
They're a distributor, I think. I think that's how you gonna put it. Naisip lang very timely habang kasi I think nagra-run yung mga questions, no. Habang filler lang. Timely yung Keeper kasi kaka All Souls Day lang. Sabi mo imported spirits. Ting, last ko na yun.
Hindi ko na-expect yun. Bumenta.
Ayan, sabi ni Domsky Alapag, literal for keeps. Ayan. So, I think we are looking at medium to long term ba? Tama ba, Rainier? For Keeper.
Correct. Medium for long term for Keeper.
Okay. All right. So, I think that's it. This is gonna be yung mga I think Rainier will have another may briefings because this is an earnings season. So if there will be questions, just hold your horses because there's gonna be another interview with the president, and that's gonna be live. That's a touch base live for next week, Wednesday. So stay tuned with that, and I think we're gonna have more parts in the Q&A, not like the usual touch base natin kasi it's just recorded. But this one we will have a chance to ask him live on next Wednesday. And I hope we have answered your questions. And I think we are gonna we're gonna recommend you to always read short takes. From the very start, I've heard and I've seen the recommendations of the research team with regards to is it safe to hold on to it before FOO, the subscription, and most of all, just what happened today, no, yung subscription of the listing day of all day. Just make sure that one, you always diversify your funds, and second, wag mag all in kahit na. Oh, okay. Happy birthday, Robert Alfred Espuerta. Pa-shout out. Ayan na. Wish granted. Sana may pa-cake. May ba? Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for today. I hope we answered your questions. If you have if you have questions and you're a member of My Trade, make sure you post it on Map. We will answer it. In the best time that we can With that, thank you so much, and I hope that you have learned something today. Again, the last subscription date is going to be November 4, tomorrow at 4 p.m. Wag po na tayong magpa-last minute. Ang mga Pilipino mahilig sa last minute eh. So just make sure that it is funded. And for the PSEEC, don't forget you can have another. It's a backup for you if you want to add more of the shares para panigurado lang. But just make sure that you check our website. We have the infographic on how to register in PSEEC. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.